Across cultures and centuries, people have told stories of frightening creatures lurking in the shadows, beings born from fear, imagination, and the mysteries of the natural world. These legendary monsters, from shape-shifting spirits to night-stalking beasts, reveal what different societies dread most and how they explain the unexplainable. Though their forms vary wildly, these folklore creatures all serve the same purpose: to warn, teach, and captivate, reminding us that the line between myth and reality can feel hauntingly thin. In this video, we want to take a look at these frightening folklore creatures around the world. 1. Krampus. This creature comes from Alpine region, Austria, Germany, and Slovenia. Its origin goes back to pre-Christian Alpine pagan traditions that later merged with Christian Saint Nicholas customs. It is a horned, goat-like demon with chains and a birch whip. Krampus punishes naughty children by beating them or carrying them away in a sack. It is an ancient winter monster that embodied fear and discipline. 2. Draugr comes from Norse folklore, Iceland, and Norway. Their origin goes back to Viking Age beliefs about restless dead warriors. They are described as undead corpses with superhuman strength, often swollen, blue-skinned, and foul-smelling. They guard their graves but also roam at night, attacking the living, haunting farms, and dragging people into the underworld. 3. Baba Yaga comes from Slavic folklore, Russia, Ukraine, and Poland. Its origin goes back to ancient Slavic pagan mythology. It is described as an old witch who lives in a hut standing on chicken legs, flies around in a mortar with a pestle. She eats people, especially children, tests heroes with impossible tasks, and symbolizes the unpredictable danger of the forest. 4. Leshy comes from Slavic forest spirit and Eastern Europe beliefs. The origin of Leshy comes from nature spirits common in ancient Slavic beliefs. It is a shape-shifting forest guardian, often tall, pale, and human-like, but with backward hooves, green eyes, and mossy skin. It leads travelers astray, mimics human voices to lure victims, and sometimes steals children. 5. Strigoi comes from Romanian folklore and Transylvania. They are originated from ancient Dacian beliefs mixed with medieval Christian superstition. They are described as spirits of the dead or living witches who can transform into animals and drain life force. They're a precursor to modern vampire legends, blamed for disease, crop failure, and nocturnal attacks. 6. Erlking, der Erlkönig, comes from Germanic folklore, Germany and Denmark. It is derived from Germanic forest spirits, popularized by Goethe's poem. It is a malevolent fairy king who appears as a shadowy figure in the woods. It is known for luring children with promises and then killing them, embodying fear of the dark and the unknown forest. 7. Basilisk comes from European medieval legend. It was first described in Roman natural histories and later adopted into medieval Christian lore. It is described as a serpent or dragon that can kill with a single glance. Everything it touches or looks at dies. It symbolizes absolute destructive evil. 8. The Wild Hunt, from Nordic, Germanic, and Celtic Europe. They come from pagan myths merged with medieval Christian superstition. They are described as a spectral army riding across the night sky, ghosts, gods, and demons hunting souls. It is believed that seeing the wild hunt foretells catastrophe, war, plague, or the witness of own death. 9. Banshee, Irish folklore. It is from Celtic mythology tied to ancestral spirits. It is described as a pale woman with long hair, dressed in white or gray, wailing at night. Her scream foretells the death of a family member. She doesn't kill, she warns, but the psychological terror is immense. 10. Wendigo, from French-Canadian beliefs and Northern European influence. Though often associated with indigenous Algonquian lore, the cannibal spirit entered Europe through French trappers and colonial folklore. Its origin comes from blended indigenous Canadian myth with French colonial supernatural storytelling. It is described as a skeletal, cannibalistic spirit of hunger and winter. It represents endless hunger, the horror of isolation and possession. 11. Nucklavi belongs to Scottish folklore and Orkney Islands. It is originated from Norse influences mixed with Scottish island mythology. It is a skinless horse-like demon fused with a rider whose arms drag the ground, which brings plague and drought. Its mere breath kills livestock and crops. 12. Black Annis, English folklore. It comes from medieval English legends about forest witches. It is described as a blue-skinned hag with iron claws. It eats children, skins them, and hangs their hides on her cave walls. 13. Dullahan, Irish folklore. It is originated from Celtic mythology tied to death spirits. He is a headless rider who carries his own head. If he calls your name, you die instantly. He symbolizes unavoidable fate. 14. Strzyga, Polish folklore. It belongs to pagan Slavic beliefs about double souls. It is described as a woman born with 2 hearts or 2 souls. She becomes a vampire-like monster after death. She feeds on blood at night, creates disease, and is extremely difficult to kill. 15. Chort, Slavic demon and Eastern Europe. It comes from ancient Slavic underworld beliefs. It is a small horned demon, half man, half beast. He causes misfortune, steals souls, and tempts humans toward destruction. 16. Oni, Japan. It is originated from Shinto and Buddhist mythology. They are described as horned ogre-like demons, often red or blue, carrying iron clubs. They punish evil souls in the underworld, cause disasters, and devour humans. 17. Yuki-onna, Japan. Its origin comes from Edo period ghost stories from snowy Japanese mountains. She is described as a beautiful pale woman in white who appears in storms. She drains life with her icy breath or lures men to their deaths in blizzards. 18. Yurei, Japan. It comes from Japanese ancestral and ghost traditions. They are described as vengeful spirits with long black hair, white funeral robes, and no feet. They are driven by intense rage or sorrow and cannot be stopped until fulfilled. 19. Jinn, from Middle East, Arabian Peninsula, and Persia. It is originated from pre-Islamic Arabian lore, which later incorporated into Islamic texts. Described as shape-shifting spirits made of smokeless fire. Some jinn possess humans, cause madness, or take monstrous forms. 20. Ghoul, famous in Middle East and North Africa. Its origin comes from pre-Islamic Arabian desert myths. These creatures are described as flesh-eating monsters living in cemeteries and deserts. They lure travelers, shapeshift into animals, and devour corpses or humans. 21. Aswang, Philippines. It is originated from pre-colonial Filipino animist beliefs. It is described as a shape-shifting vampire witch, woman by day, winged monster by night. She sucks blood, eats fetuses, and replaces victims with plant clones. 22. Pontianak, Kuntilanak, Malaysia and Indonesia. It comes from Malay ghost beliefs. It looks like a beautiful woman spirit with long hair and white dress. She attacks men, emits chilling cries, and kills with long fingernails or fangs. 23. Penanggalan, Malaysia, Indonesia. It belongs to Malay sorcery legends. She is a woman whose head detaches at night while her organs are dangling below. She floats in the night, sucking blood, especially of newborns. 24. Jiangshi, China. Its origin comes from Qing dynasty legends mixed with Taoist ritual lore. It is a stiff, hopping undead corpse in ancient robes. It drains life energy, qi, leaps after victims, and is nearly unstoppable. 25. Nian, China. It comes from ancient Chinese myth tied to Lunar New Year. Described as a huge lion-like monster living in the mountains. It descends once a year to eat livestock, and sometimes children, until scared away by fire and noise. 26. Rakshasa, India. It comes from Hindu epics, Mahabharata, Ramayana. They are shape-shifting demons with sharp teeth, fierce eyes, often cannibalistic. They are masters of illusion, able to change form and devour humans. 27. Vetala, India. It was first seen in ancient Sanskrit texts and early precursor to vampire myths. It is a ghoul-like spirit that possesses corpses. It controls the bodies of the dead to attack or trick the living. 28. Pishacha, India. It belongs to early Hindu and Buddhist mythology. They are night-dwelling demons with distorted faces and bulging eyes. They feed on flesh, cause insanity, and like darkness and decay. 29. Yiksha, Yakshur, South and Southeast Asia. It comes from early Hindu, Buddhist, and Jain traditions. They are beautiful women, Yashur, who lure men. Male Yiksha can be monstrous guardians. Yashur seduce and drain life force. Some are guardians of treasures who kill intruders. 30. Kumiho, Korea. Its origin comes from Korean shamanistic myths, described as a nine-tailed fox spirit that turns into a beautiful woman. It seduces humans and eats their hearts or livers to become fully human. 31. Dokkaebi, Korea. It belongs to Korean folk beliefs. They are goblin-like beings with magical clubs. They are mischievous, but can be dangerous, testing humans or playing cruel tricks. 32. Akari, Himalayan folklore, India and Nepal region. It is a hill region spirit lore. It is a little girl ghost descending from mountains at night. She spreads sickness to children with her shadow. 33. Kraja, Thailand and Cambodia. It is originated from Southeast Asian animist beliefs and Buddhist folklore. It looks like a floating female head with organs. She drinks blood, preys on pregnant women, and haunts villages at night. 34. Tikbalang, Philippines. It belongs to pre-colonial Philippines spirituality. It is a tall, horse-headed humanoid that leads travelers astray in the forest until they go insane or vanish. 35. Yeren, China. It comes from ancient Chinese mountain folklore. It is often described as a large, hairy humanoid similar to Bigfoot, known to attack humans, abduct travelers, and hide deep in forests. 36. Tokolosh, Southern Africa, Zulu and Xhosa. Its origin comes from Zulu mythology. It is a small, hairy, goblin-like creature summoned by sorcerers. It attacks at night, strangles victims, or causes illness. People raise their beds on bricks to avoid it. 37. Asambasam, West Africa, Ashanti, Ghana. It comes from Akan folklore. It is a vampire-like forest monster with iron teeth and hook-shaped feet that hangs in trees and drops onto people walking through the forest. 38. Ads, Ghana, Togo, and you people. It belongs to you spirit beliefs. It is a firefly-like creature that transforms into a human-eating vampire. It possesses humans, spreads sickness, and drinks blood, especially from children. 39. Papua, Tanzania, Zanzibar. It is a Swahili island folklore. It looks like a shape-shifting bat demon that attacks at night, terrorizes households, and causes mass panic during Papua waves. 40. Impundalu, the lightning bird, Southern Africa, Pondo and Zulu. The origin of Impundalu goes back to South African folklore. It is often described as a giant bird that rides storms. Based on the folklore, the bird drinks blood, causes lightning strikes, and serves witch doctors as a familiar spirit. 41. Kongamato, Central Africa, Zambia, Congo, and Angola. This creature comes from Bantu legends. Often described as a terrifying red, pterosaur-like flying creature which attacks canoes, kills travelers, and is said to overturn boats. 42. Grootslang, South Africa, Nama and Khoi mythology. This creature belongs to Khoikhoi creation tales. It is described as a huge serpent with the head of an elephant. It is ancient and extremely intelligent. It lives in deep caves and drags victims underground. 43. Odzega, Ethiopia, Amhara. It comes from Ethiopian highland folklore. It is a vampire-like demon that drains blood and life force, especially from sleeping victims. 44. Werhaina, Buddha, Horn of Africa, Ethiopia, Sudan, also West Africa. It comes from Ethiopian and Sudanese pastoral beliefs, also Sahel traditions. These creatures are humans who transform into hyenas at night. They are linked to grave robbing, witchcraft, and cannibalism, feared more than European werewolves. 45. Mamiwata, West and Central Africa. This creature comes from African coastal water spirit traditions. She is described as a beautiful mermaid-like water goddess. Though sometimes benevolent, She lures people underwater. 46. Nkanyamba, South Africa, Zulu and Xhosa. It belongs to Zulu river myths. Often described as a massive, serpent-like water spirit with a horse-like head that causes violent storms and tornadoes when enraged. 47. Sasabansum, Ghana, Ashanti. This demon comes from Akan mythology. It is described as a forest demon with long legs, blood-red skin, and claws that snatch people from treetops. 48. Abayafo, Ghana and Benin, Ashanti-U. Abayafo belongs to West African witchcraft lore. It is described as an evil spirit or witch with glowing eyes that drains the energy of children, spreads famine, and glows at night. 49. Nkosazana, South Africa, Zulu. It is part of the Zulu pre-colonial myth. It is a spirit maiden connected to crops. Based on the myth, if angered, she causes drought, crop failure, and sickness. 50. Kishi, Angola. Kishi belongs to Angolan Bantu folklore. It is a two-faced monster, handsome man in front, hyena-headed monster behind. His handsome face lures women with charm. His hyena head devours them from behind. 51. Abasi, North Africa and Egypt, Nubian folklore. It comes from Nubian desert spirit belief. They're demonic beings living in wastelands and cause disease, fevers, and madness. 52. Jangu, Cameroon, Sawa people. It is part of the coastal Cameroon mythology. They are water spirits with long hair and aquatic bodies. They can drown humans, abduct children, or punish those who disrespect the water. 53. Aziza, Benin. Its origin goes back to Dahomey, Benin, forest folklore. It is described as a tiny forest spirit. Generally, it is helpful, but when angered it becomes vicious, attacking humans and causing madness. 54. Wendigo Algonquian, USA and Canada. It is part of the Algonquian First Nations mythology, Cree, Ojibwe, and Innu. Described as a skeletal, cannibalistic spirit of winter and famine which represents endless hunger, possesses humans and turns them into cannibals. 55. Skinwalker, Navajo and southwestern USA. It belongs to Navajo witchcraft legends. Often described as a human sorcerer who transforms into animals like coyotes, owls, wolves. It is known for shape-shifting, mimicking voices, and attacking families. 56. Thunderbird, Native American, Great Plains and Pacific Northwest. Its origin goes back to Plains and Northwest tribes, Sioux, Ojibwe, and Salish. It is described as a massive supernatural bird controlling storms. Based on the myth, it causes thunder, lightning, and can pick up whales. 57. Chupacabra, Puerto Rico, Mexico, U.S. Southwest. This creature comes from modern Caribbean folklore, 1990s. It is described as a goat-sucking creature, reptilian or dog-like. It drains livestock blood and spreads panic in rural areas. 58. The Jersey Devil, New Jersey, USA. Its origin goes back to colonial American legend, early 1700s. It is described as a winged, hoofed creature born to a cursed mother. It is screeching, attacks travelers, and haunts the Pine Barrens. 59. La Llorona, Mexico and Southwest USA. It is part of the Mexican colonial-era folklore mixed with pre-Hispanic myths. She looks like a ghost woman crying for her drowned children. Mostly she appears near rivers. Her wail brings death or misfortune. 60. Rougarou, Louisiana, Cajun, French. It belongs to French lycanthropy mixed with Cajun swamp folklore. Often described as a werewolf-like creature roaming the bayous. It hunts sinners and violators of Lent. 61. Pukwudgie, Wampanoag, northeastern USA. Its origin goes back to Wampanoag and Algonquin tribes. It is described as small, troll-like forest beings which kidnap humans, push people off cliffs, use dark magic. 62. Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Pacific Northwest, USA and Canada. This creature belongs to indigenous tribes of the Pacific Northwest. It is described as a tall, hairy humanoid that appears suddenly in forests, associated with disappearances. 63. The Mothman, West Virginia, USA. It belongs to 1960s American urban legend. Based on the legend, it is a large, winged humanoid with glowing red eyes that appears before disasters. It is seen as an omen of catastrophe. 64. El Cadejo, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras. It belongs to Maya Spanish blended folklore. It is described as a phantom dog, one white, protector, one black, evil. It is believed that the black Cadejo stalks drunk or lonely travelers and kills them. 65. Siguanaba, Central America. It belongs to indigenous Nahua mythology mixed with Spanish colonial tales. She is described as beautiful woman with a horse's face when seen up close. She lures unfaithful men or wandering children into danger. 66. Tata Duende, Belize and Maya folklore. It comes from Maya Keki tradition. It is described as a small forest spirit with backwards feet. It steals children and cuts off thumb thieves. 67. La Ciguapa, Dominican Republic. It comes from Taino indigenous mythology, often described as a wild woman spirit with backward-facing feet. She leads men into forests to vanish forever. 68. El Silvan, Venezuela and Colombia. Its origin goes back to Llanos, grassland, folklore. It is described as a tall, skeletal ghost carrying a sack of bones. His whistle predicts death. Those who hear it close are safe, but far away means doom. 69. La Patasola, Colombia, Amazon region. It belongs to Amazonian and Andean myths. It is described as a one-legged female monster who appears as a beautiful woman. Once approached, she becomes a fanged predator. 70. Mapinguari, Brazil, Amazon rainforest. It is part of the indigenous Brazilian folklore, Shawandawa Makuksa, often described as a giant, smelly, sloth-like monster with a stomach mouth. It has bulletproof skin, enormous claws, and a deafening roar. 71. El Pombero, Paraguay and Argentina. Its origin goes back to Guarani indigenous mythology. It is a hairy, dwarf-like nocturnal spirit that steals women, causes pregnancies, chokes people in sleep. 72. Pishtaco, Peru. It comes from Andean Quechua colonial-era legends. It is a pale stranger who kills travelers to extract body fat. It symbolizes fear of outsiders and exploitation. It mostly attacks at night on mountain roads. 73. La Luz Mala, Argentina. It is part of the Gaucho ghost traditions. It looks like a floating ball of eerie light which leads travelers into dangerous swamps. Its appearance foretells death. 74. Curupira, Brazil. It belongs to Tupi-Guarani mythology, often described as a jungle guardian with backward feet. It confuses hunters, causes madness, punishes those who harm the forest. 75. La Tunda, Colombia, Ecuador. La Tunda is part of the Afro-Colombian Pacific folklore. She is a shape-shifting woman who imitates loved ones. She kidnaps children and seduces men, feeding them insects disguised as food. Which of these frightening creatures belong to your area? Which one is the most frightening in your idea? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching.